Hello and welcome to lesson 3 in Challenger Resource Management. Today we're going to be looking at a basic overview of food issues in the UK, and in particular we'll be looking at organic produce and the change in demand for food in the UK. So really that's where we import a lot of food from other countries. They're high value food exports. Okay, so the shift towards those types of food. So we'll just take a quick look at those before I show you the tasks. So don't forget, the way that we provide food in the UK has changed massively since World War II. We import a lot more of our food, increasing amounts of our food over the last 70 years have come from foreign countries, and our diets have changed as well. So prior to World War II, a lot of the food, although we did have international foods come to the UK, but a lot of our food would have been grown seasonally and within the UK. Fruit and vegetables would have been grown and sold according to the seasons. And if you take strawberries, they would have only been available in summer. And winter vegetables like Brussels sprouts later in the year. And we use preservation methods such as canning, bottling, jams, etc. to preserve our food out of season. Now that's changed because the way that we can package food and make it last longer has improved. We can fly food, we can move food greater distances without it perishing. So our population's gone up and we have a different diet to what we had before. So you can see that in there. Today this has changed. Okay, and even food that we can grow in the UK, such as onions or apples, can be grown in other countries where the cost of production is cheaper. Okay, now the example that you use within the lesson is Kenya. There's a great video there on beans coming from Kenya, green beans, French beans from Kenya, so you could watch that. And Kenya produces a huge amount of food for the United Kingdom. Okay, so they use productive farmland to feed us basically in Kenya. And a lot of that food is sent via plane to fill our supermarket shelves. Now you've got about 75% of the population in Kenya work in agriculture, and it produces 25% of their national production. So according to the Royal Geographical Society, many of the farms based in Kenya that have contracts with the UK are high-tech commercial businesses that have to produce food to very high standards. They employ large numbers of labourers. However, they sometimes pay relatively low wages, and they've been accused of environmental damage through water pollution and overuse of irrigation. Kenya produces a huge amount of food for the UK, including 350 tonnes of vegetables and cut flowers every day, ready to be sold the next day in UK supermarkets. Okay, if you look at that time period there, from 1988 through to 2005, we went from 3,800 tonnes of legume or vegetables up to 25,000 tonnes. So massive figures there. So you can have a good look at that case study, and then you'll also need to know a little bit about organic produce. So there's a video for you to watch there. But organic produce basically is produce that's been produced largely in the absence of chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides which kill insects and things that might damage the produce. So the Soil Association certifies our organic food sector, 70% of it, and it's worth, in 2016 it was worth nearly £2 billion. And as you can see on the graph, the sales of organic have gone up over time. Organic food has gone up in popularity, and more people want to eat food that is grown organically. So artificial fertilizers are banned. Some use of pesticides is possible if the crop's at real risk of being lost. So they can use a small amount of chemical pesticide if needed. Okay, and there's strict regulations known as standards to define what organic farms can or can't do. Okay, so pests can be controlled using natural predators. Crops are rotated to maintain fertility of the fields. Animals are farmed in lower numbers and without the use of hormones, antibiotics. Weeds are controlled either by hand or machines rather than spraying chemicals on them. Okay, so the lesson will focus on that idea of seasonal food and food exports, so food grown at times of the year when it's at its peak of flavour. So you can see there's a nice food wheel on what's in season when. Organic food there's a nice definition for you, and that's the logo there for the European Union and organic food. And then industrial food, sort of the opposite, or mass-produced food that produces most of the food consumed by the world's population. It's often with the help of chemical and fertilizers and pesticides. So your tasks, can you list 5 summer foods and 5 winter foods? Read the web pages that I've just gone through. What's happened to the demand for seasonal food over time and what's made it possible? And then watch the video. What's the good and the bad aspects of Kenyan food being imported into the UK, for both Kenya and the UK? And then on your organic food, you've got the graph there. Can you describe what's going on? There's a nice little writing frame in green there for you to use. Why do you think that change has happened? You could use the web page for that. Why do people want food that's grown in the absence of chemicals and so on? And you could do a bit using the video on the organic debaters as well. Okay, and then you could just finish up by thinking, would you prefer organic or non-organic farming? You know, obviously organic farming has its merits, but the food's a lot more expensive. Would you prefer locally produced food or food that is imported? Okay, so we'll just finish up with this. What if soy milk is just regular milk introducing itself in Spanish? Enjoy your lesson.